Nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
I'm a single man, ladies. Anybody wants to take me over? Yeah, I think you did.
I thought there was going to be a table here.
Oh, stop.
Oh, no.
Hi, everybody.
Woo!
Yay! What a beautiful crowd.
Welcome to Days of the Dead. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Mary. So happy to have you. I know people are super thrilled. We have more microphones, so we're going to play musical microphones, all right?
No problem.
Okay.
Get that one from Brian, okay? Don't let him have it.
No, not right now. None of us will talk.
Okay, I'm going to start off, actually, by talking to each of you individually about something else that you've done besides nerds. And then we'll turn it loose for the audience. Yeah. Okay, so let's start with you, sir. One of my favorite shows from childhood is First and 10. I love it, and I brought my DVD sleeve for you to sign too. I already got Jonka's here. You're the first second to sign just on it.
Kick a touchdown.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Having a hard life time. I only had one beer.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay, you guys want to hear
His first time.
I don't care what that loser says. What?
Can you share about your experiences of working on First and
It
10?
was great because O.J. Simpson was on the show. Tell him you didn't kill anybody.
Don't want to split the audience here, do you?
Yeah, I'm glad he's dead, so nobody knows him, right? So, go on.
Too soon.
Yeah, he was on the show, and we had some really great. Jason Begay was on the show. Maloney, the guy from
Chris Maloney.
Yeah, they were all on the
Or
show.
Pony Maloney. No.
See, now here he goes interrupting me again. See, this happens every time. I try to talk, and he jumps up out of the age. You know, and I got a lot of important things to say, guys. I mean, I can.
I can't hear you.
I can talk about God. I can talk about anything you want to hear. What? I have the microphone.
You have the microphone.
You have to turn it on.
No, it's going to talk.
You know, this is another embarrassment for me. Now you guys know I'm dumb, but I just wasn't acting. That's frightening. This microphone is not great, that's all.
No, do you realize how smart you have to be to act dumb?
It wasn't hard for me. I did it very well. That's why our meeting went, that dude's dumb as crap. We're hiring him.
So OJ, huh?
OJ, yes, he was on the show. That was a really good time. I mean, except for HBO telling me that they didn't want to be in the series business. That's what I told them. You know, Sopranos, and you know what I mean? I remember sitting next to that Albrecht guy, I think we were casting, and I said, why don't we put our show like on the same night? We don't want to be in the series business. They're not. What? What does that have to do with being on the same goddamn night, you know? The show was super popular until he killed people, and then, you know, we lost all the money, so. It was fun making it. We had nudity, we had girls. That's all I cared about. I just got to the set. I didn't worry about my dialogue. I just wanted to see the naked girls. So.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed. That's true. There's 60 naked pictures. She doesn't even remember doing it.
He says it's very embarrassing. And not true.
It's not true, but I just make it up in my head.
So you are not only an actor, you're an acting coach. How did that start for you?
It started from when I started doing nerds, and people would always come and say, "Hey, I could be better than you." And how do I do that? That wasn't so hard, but you did. I could do that. So I said, okay, well, let me see you do it. And they'd be like, do what? I'm like, that's kind of my point. And so then I started coaching because I really just wanted to help folks. Help folks, you know, because somebody helped me, and it was kind of to give back. To help younger folks figure out how they can get back in the system. And it really took off about, doing it since early 2000. But it really took off about 5 years ago. I started working with a lady called Tasha Smith. And I saw online.com. What happened was COVID actually inadvertently helped it because it shut down our brick and mortar, and then we became global because we went online. So now you can go to T-Saw Online and pick the class you want, and you can now drive to your living room. And
How come I didn't
you work with it. No comment.
I just like to know things. You know?
Camera don't care, man.
I know you're right. You're absolutely right.
And then I've been fortunate enough to kind of work with a lot of the upcoming rappers and older rappers, Method Man, Cardi B, 2 Chainz, Too Short. I work with a lot of these folks now, and I work behind the scenes with just actors in general. And so I just like helping folks, and I do a little bit of directing and acting. So it was just kind of, it helped.
Next. Oh, sorry.
No, that wasn't me. That was nice, wasn't it, y'all?
No, don't look at me like that.
Rude.
So I just like to help folks. It's just to forget that.
Character that you played.
Behave.
How can are you still doing that?
Yeah.
And how can people find your class?
T-Saw online, like T-Saw. You guys already saw. T-Saw.
Is that what it means?
Online.com.
These are a lot of really famous music people for some of you who don't know.
Don't know yet. Tosh Smith Actors Workshop Online.com. And been fortunate enough to work in a lot of films. And we can talk about that later on. And anybody else say what they do. No, I'm not in the bedroom.
I don't know. I'm just asking stuff, guys.
Hey.
There are no.
That's why they're going to bring me food, so I shut up.
This would not be the time to watch a movie.
No, I don't. I was trying to turn my phone on, I turned it off. My 12-year-old knows how to do it.
Don is filming a lot of movies right now.
That's right.
He's doing like non-stop filming.
I can't, I hate to be humble, but we're getting more than these guys, and they're embarrassed. They get jealous.
He's usually waiting his turn.
I know Robert's. Sorry. It's like Don, shut up. Sorry.
Okay, sir. So you were very, very creepy in one of my favorite remakes. I saw what you did.
And I know who you are.
Yes. Can you please speak on your experiences of that, working with Shawnee, the whole bit?
Shawnee Smith?
Mm-hmm.
She was lovely.
Isn't she?
I didn't kill her though.
No, but you did have it coming.
She did have it coming.
How was that? How did that come into your life?
I was friends with the director, Jack Skinner, and he asked if I wanted to do it. I said, yeah, I want to do it. And off we went, and it was a rather spectacular cinematic experience. Yeah,
It was a great movie. Most people don't know it was a remake.
yeah.
I have to educate.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to nerd out a little bit over here for you, sir. Okay, so anyone who knows you will tell you one of my favorite shows, genuinely, aside from First and 10,
Stop it.
is Diagnosis Murder.
I'll tell you.
Nerd.
That's kind of weird. That was out of the left field. Yeah.
Can you speak on working on that?
I'm working on
Nick Carter
Diagnosis.
was in it, yeah.
Diagnosis Murder. Of all the things that you, us actors, we're those kind of people that we're the kind of vagabonds that, we'll pretty much do anything if it makes sense, and, and even if it doesn't. Even if it doesn't, we're actors. And Diagnosis Murder was, for those who don't know, it was an old Dick Van Dyke show that then went to his son, and then there was Scott Baio was in that, and then it
He's
went.
my friend.
And then it went.
Sorry.
Oh, and then it went to Charlie Schlatter, I think, right?
Yeah, he's a friend of mine as well.
Oh, I love Charlie. He is so funny.
Charlie is the best.
Charlie Schlatter, he's a great guy. Anyway, so I just did a little guest thing on that thing. I mean, yeah. And it was, but just being a journeyman actor like all of us, it's just one of the gigs of many that I kind of ended up doing.
And working with Dick Van Dyke, seeing him.
And yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, Dick Van Dyke. Yeah, I mean, he's still at 96.
Yeah.
And amazing, it's amazing, this guy. So I'm just amazed that you even brought that up because I haven't thought about that since I did it.
Should I say you're welcome or I'm sorry?
No, well, we're here for nerds, but but that's just fine because it just reminded me of something I did way long time ago.
All right, so, you were a small part of another cult television show. played the old version of Jodie Sweetin in Full House.
Oh my God. I don't think this mic is working. Yes, it is. Oh my God. Seriously? How
fun was that?
It was really fun because it was a really fun group of actors, and also because one of the other actresses who played one of the other little girls was an old friend of mine when I started doing modeling in television commercials. So Jane Modine, if you know, we were sisters together. But I feel the same way, Brian. I'm like, what? Full House? But it was really, really fun with that group. Yeah. Yeah.
Curtis, you also did a diagnosis murder, so we're not going to go there again.
What?
I said you also did a diagnosis murder, but
I
I'm not
did.
going to go there.
I was actually really looking forward to talking about it. It was what?
I think it was Charlie's first or second episode.
It may well have been, but I only had eyes for Dick.
Well, could be taken a lot of ways. Wait a minute.
Going with the theme of the episode.
You don't remember the
I
episode?
do.
Oh, jeez. Okay, because I
It was
know.
about trans.
Oh, all I remember was I was at a computer. I was at a computer. That's all I remember. And right, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie was in that. But Dick Van Dyke, when I was a kid, I used to religiously watch the Dick Van Dyke Show, and it was just really awesome to also. Oh, hey, how about this? Listen, Don, you'll like this. It has nothing to do with you, though. Yeah. So the real reason that I loved meeting Dick Van Dyke was because I'm a lifelong Laurel and Hardy fan, and I knew that Dick was a close friend of Stan Laurel's and had actually delivered the eulogy at Stan Laurel's funeral. And the idea of meeting somebody who'd actually been friends with Stan Laurel was huge for me. And at one point in the course of the day or whatever it was that I was there, I brought it up to him, and he lit up and just started telling me story after story about Stan Laurel and the relationship that he had with him. And I mean, it was one of those things where we would be talking and they would have to, call us away to film.
Sure.
And but he was telling stories about it, and it was just really amazing. And on my last day, I brought in the official biography of Laurel and Hardy, which I own, and which he wrote the introduction to.
Oh, wow.
And I brought it in, and he took it and he looked at it, and he said, and he started looking at his introduction and said, "Oh my God, this is so badly written." And then he wound up, I asked him if he would sign it, and he signed to Curtis, "Keep them laughing, Dick." And I have treasured that ever since.
Awesome.
We nerded it out hard with Dick Van Dyke.
I totally nerded out.
Yeah.
Totally nerded out.
He did the same thing when you had these.
Yes, it was about 12 and 10.
Right?
Yeah. What?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. It was a big thing. It was really doing. I remember my agent calling me and said, "Okay, we got a call from Diagnosis Murder. I don't know if you want," and I said, "Stop right there." Yes. The answer is yes.
And there we go.
And there we go.
There we go. Andrew.
Hey, Al. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Okay. Are you afraid yet?
I'm
Terrifying.
Yeah.
You are terrifying.
Is she gonna come up? Yeah, I
Yes.
You were on a very, very short-lived show, co-starring Matt LeBlanc,
Yes.
Stacey Dash,
Yes.
Alex Dishart,
That's right. TV 101.
TV 101.
Yeah.
Can you share that?
Yeah, it was, that was a huge. It was a lot of buzz around it. It was like CBS had, they really believed in this show, and they were putting everything they had behind it. They really all the enthusiasm, and we premiered and nothing. Just death. But it was we were. I guess it was like a high school show, high school journalism show. But it was a high school like drama, and we were up against like Saved by the Bell and Beverly Hills 90210. Both those shows were nascent at the time, and they were just much more suited for the audience. So we were a little too heady and not drawing in the kids. So, but that was an interesting job. Yeah, it was. We got to LA to do that, and lived in LA for a year, and that was a weird experience because I couldn't drive. I was 15.
Wow.
So if you can't drive in LA, you're screwed. Yeah, you're totally screwed. So that was sort of like soured me on LA a little bit, and I was like, oh, I hate it out here. It's not fun or whatever, blah blah. But years later, I went out there and realized, oh, this is if you can drive, it's an amazing thing. But the job was crazy. Matt LeBlanc was pretty crazy. He was hard to handle. Not for me, but
can you give us details?
for the producers. For the producers, he's hard to handle. But we had a softball game versus like the cast of China Beach one time, and he got into a fist fight with somebody. And like there was blood involved, and so it was a little nab. Yeah, it was a little crazy. It wasn't one of the China Beach people though. Somebody from another team had come over and said, "Oh, can you guys shift a little bit?" And he was like, "No, we're playing our game." And then it just like escalated. He rolled in one morning to the shoot with a new motorcycle, and the producer's like, "You can't have that. You can't drive that." And he's like, "Yeah, that's sparkles." He's like, "No, this is insurance. You can't do it." He's like, "Nope, I'm doing it." So that just made them all apoplectic, and the first time I got drunk was with Matt LeBlanc. They invited me over, and I was a little too young to set, but they were like, "We're getting drunk." They got me lit and sent me back home, and they were all laughing at me. But Matt, the coup de grace was Matt one time was like, "Oh yeah, I'll take you home on my motorcycle." So I'm on the back of the motorcycle, going down the freeway, and we weren't doing anything crazy. Too? No, he wasn't drinking. He was fine, and he was driving like a totally responsible person. But it's the first time I'm on the back of a motorcycle, and I'm just like, I'm gonna die. This is it. I'm holding on for dear life.
And you're drunk.
I'm absolutely gonna die. We made it home, but that's the most memorable thing I remember from that experience.
I need a question.
Yes.
What's it feel like to be on a motorcycle?
I want to say something to everybody here. By the way, we're all really dear friends. All the nerds here, we're all actually, we love each other.
Yeah, I know.
And what's really cool, and you too, Don. You too, Don.
Love Don the most.
No,
It doesn't look like
yeah, but you know what? We love you, Don.
I know, and you guys love me.
I love you so much. Anyway, I wanted to say that this is kind of an interesting thing because these are some of the stories. We've known each other for a long time. And some of these stories we've not even heard, about each other. So this is kind of an interesting thing.
I ask the weird questions.
You do.
Then you all might not care about diagnosis murder or first and 10, but the best stories. Everyone talks about Full House, but the best stories come out of it. So thank you guys for sharing. Let's turn it out to the audience. Who has questions? I know you do. You. Don't be shy.
Did you guys have any ad libs that made it into the films of the Nerds films?
We love you when you're mad.
Awesome. Awesome.
Anyone else?
I was told to stay with the script. Moron, stay with the script, John.
I just love the fact that we had the opportunity to come up with a lot of our own stuff. For example, Curtis Armstrong and I, Booger and Takashi, the 90% of the stuff that you see between us was never written in the script. It was just Curtis and I just working out different scenarios and them shooting it, and it, landed in the film. So, I mean...
Well, it started when we were doing the scene in the gym when the nerds have gotten thrown out of their house, and they're all sleeping on the cots in the gym. And the two of us arbitrarily wound up at adjoining bunks. And so we're sitting there, and Jeff Canoe, who was on his way to shoot Bobby and
The director, Jeff Canoe.
Jeff Canoe, sorry. Yeah, he was going to shoot Bobby and Tony in the shower. And, and because that's more important. And so he was going to do that, and he was walking by where the two of us are just sitting there, and he walks by and goes, I have to shoot Bobby and Tony in the shower. Come up with something. And kept walking. And there were a couple things around that the set designer had put, like a deck of cards. And we just started improvising with this. And he then comes back from having shot Bobby and Tony, and he says, what do you got? And we do this little routine for him. And he goes, camera's here. And then it became like a thing. And it was like, if he had time, he'd say, come up with something, you guys. And all of the stuff, the painting,
Wonder Joy.
Wonder Joy. And then there was the other one in the Nerd House.
It was nonstop, pretty much wherever we were.
Yeah.
We all contributed, everybody.
Yeah, I think one of the wonderful things that Jeff did was he created an environment where we could be creative and come up with stuff, because the script as it was written is generally not what the end result is. For instance, I think I had like 4 lines in the original script. If you see the film, it was a whole lot different than that. And everybody had different ways to get into this whole situation. For instance, Don, your time to talk.
Oh, I can talk now?
You can talk now. How did you get the role?
I was actually called by the stunt coordinator. He said they're looking for an ogre, the character. And I said, oh, I'll go down there and read for it. So I went down there and read for it, and they called me. And then he called me and said, they need you. They really want you. And I said, okay, what do I have to do? So I shaved my beard. Of course, back in those days, I had tissue all over my face. And shooting everywhere. And then they called me and they hired me. But when I got down there, they thought I was a stuntman. So you talk about, you had 4 lines? I think I had 1. Like burp or something, I don't know. And then once I started doing it, I was, a brilliant thespian, and they had me. They actually wanted to make everybody else dial laughing just when I made the movie. Is that true, or you guys heard that too, or no?
That story got by me.
Did it? You guys didn't hear that? Oh, okay. I made that up.
Yeah.
What did you say yeah for?
I don't know. I just said yeah. I was trying to be positive.
See, these guys are sweet.
Yeah, I know.
They probably think I'm serious.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell the story. Go ahead. Tell more stories.
Curtis, your story about how you got the role.
You guys are boring.
You want to hear the story, Don?
Yes, I want to hear the story.
Okay.
I love your stories. These people are probably bored, go to sleep, and I love them.
No. Jeez. Okay. Well, what happened with me was I had done Risky Business, and there
There you
was
go.
Tom, you're just going to have to stop. Or don't make me come over there. Let me just say that.
Uh-oh, you're witnessing something here.
Come over there.
Beat me up one time and tells everything. So
What, really went like this?
Don, that's 2. That's 2, buddy. Okay. So I'd done Risky Business. So I went in to read for Tony Edwards' part. And because they hadn't cast him yet, but they cast Bobby. And I knew who Bobby was, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then I went in and read, and then they said, no, they went with Tony Edwards, whoever that was. And so then the agent called back, excuse me, and said, this is the best part, Don, you'll like this. I'll make it fast. So they called back and said, they really loved your audition. They really loved everybody's audition, apparently. And they said, but they wanted to offer you one of the other nerds. And I'm going, oh, that's and then I'm thinking, but wait, that's Lamar? No. Wormser? No. Takashi? No. And I'm starting to look through this script going, who the fuck are they talking about? And then I thought, oh, it's probably Poindexter. It's got to be Poindexter. And I realized it was either Poindexter or Booger. And I called my agent back. I said, look, you can call them back. And if they offer me Poindexter, I will be happy to do the film. But I am a classically trained actor. I am a stage actor, and I will not pick my nose and belch for the amusement of the many-headed. So if they offer Booger, no. The answer is no. And the agent said, okay, I'll call back. And so then the agent called back a little while later and said, okay, well, they offered you Booger. And I went, okay.
True story. True story.
How do you want to hear it again?
And Bobby, how did you get the role?
Well, it's kind of a long-haired motorcycle rider, living in Laurel Canyon and playing my guitar. And I was a hippie, yeah. And this film came along. I didn't even want to go in on it because it had the word "nerd" in the title. I'm thinking, I don't want to have anything to do with a film that's called Nerds. And he said, my agent said, well, listen, just go meet them, all right? I mean, it's a studio picture. Go meet them. So I went in to meet them. I had hair down to here. And I had not a good attitude, and me and the director did not see eye to eye. And I left, and I thought, okay, great, that's it, it's over. I got a call back from my agent about a week later. He said, they want you to come in and read. Really? Yeah, it's a studio film, go in and read. So I'm thinking, okay, I've been challenged. I'm going to show them. So I cut off my hair like it is in the movie, regular boy's haircut. And I bought the glasses from this optometrist who insisted on me not getting cheap frames in front of my eyes. You only have one set of eyes. And I go, you don't understand, I'm playing a nerd. Oh, a nerd. Oh, okay, here, I got what you want. I pulled out the glasses that I wore in the movie. So I put on the glasses, I had the haircut, I got kind of a nerdy shirt going, and I'm waiting in the outer office to meet the director and the other people. And they come out and they look kind of right at me, and then they look the other way, and then they go back in. I think, oh, that's weird. And then about 10 minutes later, they do it again. They come out, they look right at me, they look the other way, they go back in. I'm thinking, man, what's going on here? They come out a third time, I say, hey, are you guys going to see me or not? I'm supposed to be seen at 2 o'clock. And the lady who came out to get me was like, oh my God, Bobby? And I said, yeah. And I said, whoa, come on in. That's how I got it.
Any other questions out there? Sorry.
No, I didn't have any questions.
Did you have a story?
I know a lot of the answers.
Did you have a story you wanted to share? I'm sorry, I just skipped over you.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I tried to give it to her, Bobby. I tried to give it.
Yeah.
So I grew up watching Nerds 2 a lot. That's become one of my favorite films. And I always wondered, why was Betty not in Nerds 2?
Good question.
There is an answer.
Okay.
There is a good answer.
So for one thing, all right. For A, it was not.
I'm sorry.
Jesus, he's so rude. It wasn't written by the same writers. That's not why I didn't do it. But I'm reading through the census script. They're like, we'd love you to come down to Florida, where these guys are already partying. And I would have loved to go. I was shooting something else, but I started reading the script, and I get to page 6, and Betty is in bed with a jock. And I thought, what the fuck? I mean, did they not see the first movie? I mean, I can and I will, but anyone can cut me off. I mean, I will go on, but I was so insulted that they would have me doing that. On page 6, and a good point that Curtis made the other day was, had there been like, had there been a huge fight? Had there been like other scenes in the movie where you kind of understood what the fuck Betty was going through, having this crisis dilemma of personality, then maybe it would have been more interesting. But they literally had me sleeping with a jock on page 6, and I'm like, no. And then the director's like, no, we really want you to do it. You'll come down and we'll rewrite the script. And Curtis and I were talking, and he's like, they're not doing what they're not giving us the play in the script like they did in Nerds 1. So I'm like, I'm not doing it. That's it. Now, you might remember that Robert Carradine was also screwing around. Look, this is the way it goes. Guys, this is the way it goes. I think I'll end there.
Anyone else have questions?
Yes. One of my favorite scenes is when the nerds show up at Land to petition for membership. What was it like working with Bernie Casey? Because I'm a huge fan of his.
I wasn't in that. That's a Bobby. I don't remember.
Oh no, Bernie was fantastic, and he was physically large guy, so you're talking to him and you're looking up, and he was just great with us. Rest in peace, Bernie. Yeah, he was great. Super sweet.
Can I hit that for a second? Ernie, what I remember is him watching me during the party scene with the balloon in my mouth and going, this is the only thing they're going to remember you for. You're such a good actor. This is all.
I've never heard that either. I never heard that either. That's funny.
While we're talking about the dearly departed, I way to bring
on a lighter note.
I am a diehard fan of John Panette, who you had in 3 and 4. What was it like working with him? Because he stole the show.
Well, he was great. John Panette was a very funny guy, obviously, but he was also great with us. He blended right in. He didn't have any attitude, no holier than thou thing going on. He just was right there with us. Unlike very sober.
Just for you who don't know, John Panette was that heavy-set, 400-pound character actor who was incredibly funny.
And he could not sing, because he sang too.
I was next to him in the honey wagon. In case you guys don't know, sometimes they put the actors that house them in an outdoor truck called a honey wagon. It places in different rooms. You have separate dressing rooms. And John is, in case you guys don't know, there's some people only funny on camera. John had me on the floor all the time. He's a comedian. He's just funny. He said, wait, what did he say? You tell me? He said what?
He used to do this thing the other day. He goes, oh, Mr. Panette. He would talk about a Chinese restaurant. Oh, Mr. Panette, you order again. Oh, good. We get that as we can. He used to dial out and it's so funny.
I understood that.
It's called the setup.
Anyone else want to contribute to that? Or?
About what?
John Panette?
I think they covered it.
They covered it.
The left side got it.
Okay.
Because we're smarter.
That's probably a different answer for everybody.
Yeah,
I really like the scene. I really like the scene where Anthony Edwards and I are walking on the campus, and we see Betty and her girlfriends sitting on the steps of their sorority house, and we have this little scene together. And I asked her if she wants to grab her cup of coffee sometime. And the other girl was saying, "That was a good scene."
What, my favorite? Anything that I was.
It's
I don't like
pretty
working with these guys. I'd rather have done it myself, but they wouldn't let me. So I love them all. I'm just joking. They're my favorite people in the world, actually.
And I'll tell you something that's not, it doesn't answer the question, but kind of does, it's kind of good for you guys to know, is this guy here, him and Tony, really set the tone for the movie. Now you guys kind of have to remember, this is Tucson, Arizona, 1983.
Four.
No, it came out.
Oh, did we make it in 83?
We made it in
I was on drugs then. I was either drunk.
I think that's that way till the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much through the 20, what are we now, 2024? Still on drugs, so it's
what he did, and we all take this for granted right now, you guys maybe don't figure it know, is if you don't, there's a couple ways to play comedy. What pleased about what he did was they took it seriously. And I remember coming down, and I don't know if, I think it was with Tim Busfield, and we watched him and Tony playing with a fucking model airplane out in the thing, dressed as nerds, just like you see in the movies. And we looked at them and went, they're serious. But what they did was that set the tone so that we didn't, even though it can be campy, we didn't play, it was real to us, which I think some kind of how rolled over to the movie, and it gave it a nice quality because everybody was just themselves, and he just accepted us as we were.
Well, the script was written in a way that you could easily do these characters as caricatures, and I made a really conscious effort to keep this guy totally normal. He has no idea he's a nerd. And I mean, that's why in the beginning of the movie when Andrew Edwards and I are carrying that big foot locker across the campus, and he yells, nerds, we're looking around like, talking about us. No way.
You know what's kind of interesting is that, I mean, we're actors as well. And Bobby was right. We took the characters seriously. But what's interesting is the characters we played, a lot of us are antithetic to the characters we did play. Bobby, as you said, he cut his hair. He was a motorcycle, race car driver. I mean, Curtis Armstrong, Booger, he's a classically trained actor. Jake,
Did I mention that?
I mean,
I forgot.
You always do, brother. And I just come from porn film, so.
That's why he did the really good.
but we took the character seriously, as Bobby says. Well, you know, I had so many favorite scenes. It's hard to say which is the best because we got along. There's one thing interesting is studios, especially now, they don't spend the extra money to bring actors over so that they can rehearse and bond before principal photography. 20th Century Fox brought the principal cast, the main nerds, into Tucson, Arizona 3 weeks before principal photography so that we can rehearse and kind of get to know each other and kind of commiserate and create a bond. And that really was such a unique experience because we immediately, all of us hit it off. I mean, we all really did.
Yeah, there was another thing that was interesting was that they, and I don't think this was by mistake, and Bobby can probably speak to this, is they left us alone. And I think that was because they thought this was going to be bad. So they just let them be out there, whatever. And that allowed us, like he said, to bond with each other. But more importantly, we got to take it seriously, and we just started to try to make each other laugh. And we didn't care about anybody else. And I remember seeing the dailies, and I think that was when I know because we got to, the dailies, in case you guys don't know, is the day's shoot, or actually the previous day's shoot. They'll show you the clips from what was shot. So you don't get to see it strung together, you just get to see the scenes you shot the day before. And that was when we realized, I think, that we had something we didn't know that they did. And of course, this whole other story about what happened when it got released. What did they think about the movie, the studio?
Oh yeah, so we're finally going to get to see a rough cut of the film. The year was finished. It had temporary music and it didn't have the final music. And we're watching the movie. And you know, it wasn't the movie that you all know. It had some rough spots in it, but the guy who's in charge of distributing the movie, the lights come up, and I overheard him say, "Piece of shit."
Oh man!
I'm thinking, oh man, this is a bad.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah. But then the movie came out, and I think they released it in 600 or 700 theaters instead of 1,000 or 2,000. And the Monday after that opening weekend, other studios are calling the head of distribution for Fox, saying, "Didn't you guys know what you had? Why didn't you release it wide? What is the matter with you?" And that guy got fired. Yes.
Yeah. So, I get paid for this if I go eat, if I stay long enough to get paid? Yes. Because I need food. I got food out there.
Okay. I'll tell you what.
How long, I gotta eat my food.
Yeah, okay, well, go bring your food.
I have
low blood sugar.
Oh,
I'm gonna tell you that again, Julia. No, I don't know how much longer we're
We got 15 more minutes. You be the judge, sir. I get you for an hour.
I gotta go get my food.
Any
Yes.
other questions?
Go get your food.
Thank you.
Yeah, what you got?
Ron Gibb!
He'll be back. Better? The question was, does he think they'll make a remake better than the original?
No way. No way.
Never.
No.
Guys, it's really hard to go back and do what you saw better today than it was then. It's kind of like going back. You have memories of yesteryear, and if you try to go back to that spot, it's not the same spot. It's like going to the river the next day. You go to the same spot, but you can't go back to the same spot in the water. So there's so many different variables that had to be in place to make that particular movie happen and be accepted by America.
Put this on your back.
No. I do not think so, comrade.
I got you.
But I think another really good question is, and Brian, I don't know, how did you get the role?
They were looking for an Asian actor. I don't know how they could have ever thought of me. No, but there was a TV series called After MASH. It was a sequel to MASH, and it was Corporal Klinger, and he was married to this Asian woman, and I happened to know her. I had a TV series beforehand on 20th Century Fox. She played my sister with Yul Brynner, matter of fact, called the Anime King. Anyway, her name is Rosalind Chow. She was, but she played Corporal Klinger's wife in the After MASH series, and they shot it on 20th Century Fox. And the casting people said, "Do you know any Asian actors?" So she says, "Yeah." I just happened to be one of the names she provided them, and so they called me in for an audition, and I tried to look as Asian as possible. And lo and behold, I studied up on my Asian accent, which is sounding more Yiddish as I get older. Hello. Anyway, for some reason they hired me. So I'm very grateful because I got to make lifelong friends here.
I know.
Movie's perfect, but was there any scenes that you remember shooting that didn't make it in the film that you were kind of disappointed in? I don't know how that could be possible, but
What I was thinking.
yeah, the
Vegas thing, yeah. There was a whole sequence in the movie where Bobby and Tony go to Las Vegas, where Tony's uncle owns a casino. All right, first off, why? Now, I don't remember what the justification for it was, but they show, and we were in Vegas, and shot it in Vegas, and all of the nerds.
And don't forget, they all had us dressed in what?
Dashikis. We were all, and I don't remember why that.
And it was Michael Lerner, Academy Award winner Michael Lerner.
Michael Lerner was playing the uncle, and he turns out, we show up, and he turns out to be just bone racist, and saying, and he sees Larry B, and
Lamar.
He's Lamar. Yeah, I mean, it didn't help that, you know, not only was he black, he was gay, And this guy hated everybody who was black and gay. And he just said these horrible things that it's not remotely funny. And it's so out of place and inappropriate in this movie. And then I think Tony winds up taking him apart, for abusing his friend. And why we were all in dashikis, I don't remember. But that was a whole sequence in the movie that they transferred everybody to Vegas to shoot, and just disappeared. And if you get